Hi, thank you. Good evening, everybody. I want to welcome you to the Board of Selectmen's virtual meeting of October 21st, 2020. I'll start out by reading our preamble that we do for each of these meetings. Good evening. As Chairman of the Wolfeboro Board of Selectmen, I am declaring that an emergency exists and I am invoking the provisions of RSA 91-A:2, Roman numeral 3B. Federal, state, local officials have determined the gatherings of 10 or more people pose a substantial risk to our community in its continuing efforts to combat the spread of COVID-19. In concurring with their determination, I also find that this meeting is imperative to the continued operation of town government and services, which are vital to public safety and confidence during this emergency. As such, this meeting will be conducted without a quorum of this body physically present in the same location. At this time, I also welcome members of the public accessing this meeting remotely. Even though this meeting is being conducted in a unique manner under unusual circumstances, the usual rules of conduct and decorum apply. Any person found to be disrupting this meeting will be asked to cease the disruption. Should the disruptive behavior continue thereafter, that person will be removed from this meeting. Please note that all votes that are taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call vote. So start the meeting by taking roll call attendance, and when each member states the name, please state whether there was anyone in the room with you during this meeting, which is required under the right to know law. We'll start with Linda.
Linda Murray, I'm alone in a room in my house.
Thank you. Dave Senecal.
Yes, I'm alone.
Thank you. Paul.
Paul O'Brien, good evening. I'm alone in a room at my house.
Thank you. Dave Bowers.
I'm in my living room with Christy nearby.
Thank you. And I'm Brad Harriman. I'm in a room alone by myself here. We just also want to put out, I understand there's a lot of people joining our meeting tonight. So unless you have one of our topics that you're going to have a comment or discuss with us, in the meantime, if you would just keep your mics muted so we don't get feedback coming in from different areas, we'd appreciate that. Thank you. Mr. Pinio, do we have a need for non-public session this evening?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. We do under New Hampshire RSA 91A:3, Roman numeral. Yeah, let me try this again. RSA 91A, number 3, lowercase a, dismissal, promotion, compensation of public employees.
Okay, thank you. Next, our agenda is consideration of minutes. We'll do the October 5th, 2020 minutes first. Does anybody have any comments, corrections they'd like to bring out?
I'll make a motion that we accept the October 5th, 2020 minutes as written.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of October 5th. Any other discussion? Okay, we'll have a roll call vote. Linda?
Yes.
Dave Senecal?
Yes.
Paul O'Brien?
Yes.
Dave Bowers?
Yes.
And Brad Harriman votes yes also. Next on the agenda will be the October 7th minutes. Paul.
I beat Linda to it this time.
I know you did. I let you have it.
Thank you very much for that kind thought. Page 14, under other business, I just wanted to, it's a formatting thing. I just wanted to, after the second sentence, create a new paragraph under my report because they're two different thoughts. The first had to do with Libby, the second had to do with an NOI from the Federal Communications Commission. I just want a paragraph separating those. That's all. Thank you.
Brad?
Linda, yep.
Okay, while we're on that same page 14, the last big paragraph, second sentence, it's difficult to hear at the town hall, so it should say the Board of Selectmen would like to have all budget hearings virtual. And on page 9, last sentence, want to take out temporary vent and put permission to use the space.
Okay,
And then on page 15, the third paragraph down, the fifth sentence, it starts with Ms. Murray, and it should read, Ms. Murray recommended that the Board of Selectmen develop rules of procedure for all committees not established by RSAs. The committee's rules of procedure can be adapted from the Board of Selectmen's rules of procedure. And I'll give that wording to Michelle.
okay. Anybody have anything else? You got? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
I approve that, I move to approve the October 7th, 2020 minutes as amended.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the minutes as amended. Do a roll call vote. Linda?
Yes,
Dave Senical?
Yes.
Paul O'Brien?
Yes.
Dave Bowers?
Yes.
And Brad Harriman votes yes also. All right, thank you for that. Next on our agenda is a public hearing. This will be our second public hearing regarding the consideration to grant an easement for a minor encroachment on the Latchaw building owned by Cross Neck Road, Inc. into Lake Avenue pursuant to Selectmen's authority under RSA 41:14-a. So we'll just go right into open the public hearing. We kind of talked about it the last meeting a little bit. So anybody in the public have any questions or comments on this, or board members too? Don't see anybody wanting to comment on it, so I'll close the public hearing. Board members, do we have anything we want to say to this or go into a motion?
do you want a motion, Brad?
Yes, I'd entertain a motion, Linda, if you have one ready.
I move that the board pursuant to RSA 41:14-a grant an easement to Cross Neck Road, Inc. for an encroachment of the Latchow building into Lake Avenue in the form drafted by counsel for Cross Neck and approved by town council, and to authorize the chairman, Brad Harriman, to sign the deed on behalf of the board and the town.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion, a second on that. Any other discussion? Seeing none, I'll have a roll call vote. Linda?
Yes,
Dave Senical?
Yes.
Paul O'Brien?
Yes.
Dave Bowers?
Yes.
And Brad Harriman votes yes also. All right, thank you. The next item on our agenda is a public input session, limited 3 minutes per person, not to exceed 15 minutes total. If anybody out there would like to speak to us under public input? Seeing none, we'll move on to our bulk vote, which this week has a couple of manifests in it, property tax refund abatement, and some vouchers for capital reserve vouchers to approve on a raffle permit.
Are we putting the raffle permit in there too, Greg? Yes, I'm sorry. Yep, no, I got it.
Yeah, it's in there, yep.
Yep, okay.
you want a
Somebody
motion?
like to make a, yes, please.
I was
I
gonna
move that we accept the bulk vote.
second.
Motion is second to approve the bulk vote as presented. Any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote. Linda,
Yes,
Dave Senical,
Yes.
Paul O'Brien,
Yes.
Dave Bowers,
Yes.
and Brad Harriman votes yes also.
Mhm.
Hey, Board committee appointments, we don't have any, so we'll move on to the new business. And under our revised agenda, we have the farmer's market lease extension for 2020.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
Okay, everything's good. So hi, it's Megan Young. I'm the president of the Wolfeboro Area Farmers Market. Our request this evening has to do with just extending the market dates. Would be the same time, same day, Thursday, 12:30 to 4:30. We're just hoping to have markets on the 22nd and the 29th that were not originally on the schedule.
Okay.
Just trying to give an opportunity for all of our farmers to get a little bit longer out of this summer that's been quite so crazy.
Okay. Board members, do we have any questions or comments?
I don't see any reason why not to grant it. I don't have any reason. I think we should do it.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I'm in agreement with you on that, Linda.
Want a motion for that, or do we have to do a public input?
Yeah, I'd entertain a motion if somebody wants to make it.
I'll make a
Okay,
motion to
well-
extend the farmer's market for the next 2 weeks.
Second.
Motion is second to extend the lease agreement for 2 more weeks to this fall here. Any other discussion? Seeing none, have a roll call vote. Linda,
Yes,
Dave Senical,
Yes,
Paul O'Brien,
Yes.
Dave Bowers,
Yes.
and Brad Harriman votes yes also. All right. So thank you very much for that. And you're all set for another couple of weeks there.
Outstanding. Thank you very much.
Okay. Next on our agenda, moving right along here, is the MRI, the preliminary values. We have somebody.
Good evening, everyone.
Okay. Yes, good evening.
Yep, my name is Paul McKinney. I'm work with Municipal Resources, and we did the reevaluation. We've reviewed all the sales that took place between April 1st of 2008 and March 31st of 2020. And there was 368 sales that we took a look at. And the new values that we have increased by 362,616,257. So you went from approximately 2.2 billion to 2.5 billion. The overall change was about a 16.4% change. The residential properties went up 18.2%. Vacant properties are going up 16.9%. Mobile homes approximately 30.5%. And commercial properties are going up 10%. Over the 2-year sales period that we looked at, we're coming to a median assessment to sales ratio of 0.9874, with a COD, a coefficient of dispersion, of 9.35 and a price-related differential of 101.58. So we will be mailing out, hopefully, if everything is approved here this evening, we will mail out preliminary notices probably sometime by the end of the week. And people will have an opportunity to contact our office by either online scheduling an appointment. They can make a phone call. We will have phone hearings available. We will do in-person hearings at the town hall. And we'll also have Zoom hearings available for those people that are not able to make the other 2 appointments. People will, be able to go to our website and directly make their own appointment, or they can call us. So I'd entertain any Any questions or anything that you have?
Okay. Board members, do we have any questions?
I mean, we don't have any data to question anything. It looks good.
Yeah.
I have nothing to question, but
We'll kind of find out after the, everything gets mailed out and see how many responses we'll get back and appointments made, and
and
We-
if they
Gotta get it.
request, then we'll know.
then we'll know. That's right.
We've been getting about 4 to 5% is what we've been getting for a turnout for hearings. Most of those have been by either phone or Zoom. There's been very few in person. We do have safety guards in place so that we have, petitions between us and the person. We wipe the stations down after every person comes in. We do require masks. So we try to promote that safe environment due to COVID.
So you would be set up in the town hall for this
Yes.
part of
yeah,
it here?
We'll be upstairs in the main room there, the big room.
Okay. Paul?
Aside from this meeting, how do people know about this process that we're going to go through?
Everybody, all the taxpayers will get an individual letter that will be mailed out later on this week. And that'll, it'll tell them their old value, their new value, and what the procedure is to call or, connect for a hearing,
Make an appointment. Okay.
make an appointment.
That sounds good. Any other comments or questions, folks? All right, well, thank you. We'll
You're very welcome. Do we need a
Well,
vote?
move forward to the next step of this and go from there.
Kenny just asked if you need a vote or something. Is
Do
that
we
what
need
you-
a vote to accept the preliminary values?
I don't know, should we take one? It's usually under the discussions, it's, we don't always do a vote, but we could if you,
No, it's up to you. It's just, some towns do and some towns do not, so.
My input on this is the fact that it's been an oral representation. I don't know what I've been, I haven't looked at anything. So it'd be hard for me to vote on something I haven't looked at.
Okay.
So I kind of accept what you've given us, but it would be difficult for me to vote unless I had something I could remember that I looked at it.
I think that was my comment, Paul. If we just don't have any of the background, looks nice, but I mean, I can't.
Sounds nice. It sounds nice. Yeah. Well, I don't know whether that's nice or not. People might not think it's good. But yeah,
Okay,
message received, and we thank you, Paul, for doing it.
yeah, I think I agree. I think, we kind of have a consensus that we're all good with it as far as what we've seen of it. And we'll move on to the next phase, which is notifying the people and conducting the appointments when they call in.
okay.
Thanks,
We will
Paul.
be publishing the data on the website, town's website. And there will be data out there as well that you can, people will be able to look at their properties and compare the values to other properties or whatever as well.
That sounds
Would you
great.
be, Paul, would you be putting a notice in maybe our local paper here? Because a lot of people do read the Granite State News, just to let them know
Yeah, no, I
what the
can
procedure is for this.
Yeah, I can do a press release of some sort for the Granite State News.
Yeah, I think that would be good too.
Okay. Is that a weekly paper that comes out?
It is.
Yes.
Yes.
It is, okay. Yeah, certainly. I'll get something out tomorrow.
Okay.
All right.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Next on our agenda is a discussion about the RFP results for our energy supply for the next five-year period here. Saw Barry was with us earlier. I assume he's going to speak to us on this tonight.
Yeah, good evening, all. If you recall, we budgeted this year, a year early, to go out and look at purchase power pricing for 2022 through 2026. And the reason for that was that the market conditions were favorable to do such. So in trying to capture that favorable condition. We went out early. We've been working on that this summer. And we've been successful. I will, and I think all of you know Mayhew Stevie of PLM, who has worked with us, helping us on our purchase power procurement for well over 20 years now, I think. And I have Mayhew with us tonight. He has a presentation he'd like to go through to sort of review the results and where we came in and how the contract looks and what effect that'll have perhaps to our rates. With that, I will announce Mayhew. I see you on here, so I'm assuming you can hear us. And Jim, I believe you have the presentation, and so you could go through the slides as Mayhew cues such, if that will work. So.
Yep.
Good evening. I guess you probably didn't expect to see me for another year, but I'm here early. As Barry said, we saw some good opportunities in the energy markets. You've probably seen that yourselves, where the price of natural gas and the price of oil just kept falling through the winter and into the spring. And we thought we would at least go out and take a look at where those prices were relative to the contract that we have now, and see if there was some value that we could lock in. Have we got is the slideshow being shown? There we go. Okay.
Okay.
And so, like I said, the prices have been declining for about 2 years. Winter prices jumped up a little bit since April, but they were still very much near the lowest prices that we've seen in the last 4 years. The current contract with PSEG doesn't run out until December of next year, and that price is locked in at about $45.20 a megawatt hour for the rest of this year, and goes up a little bit to $45.69 in 2021. We sent out a request for proposals on July 13th to 6 suppliers who we've been working with on behalf of other public power systems in New England. And we were looking for indicative prices for 2 different products. We were looking at fixed blocks of energy with fixed pricing, or load following energy. We've been buying load following energy for most of the last 20 years. But we just wanted to be sure that there was still value there, because given some of the uncertainty that we've seen with the pandemic, we were concerned that suppliers might see a lot of risk in taking on all of your load risk. That is, if you lost a lot of customers, that they would be on the hook for having overbought power. So we just wanted to check that out. We got indicative prices back on July 21st from 5 of the 6 suppliers, and only 4 of them gave us indicative price for the load following energy product. The pricing, we did not see any increase in the premium price for load following energy, so we decided to just move forward and get fixed pricing for load following energy. And so we went through a contract negotiation process with those 4 suppliers, them being Constellation, NextEra, PSEG, and Shell. PSEG informed us on August 13th that they wouldn't be participating because they were undergoing some internal restructuring and they couldn't take on long-term commitments. So then we were down to 3 suppliers. This is a summary of the indicative prices that we got, and you can see that the prices averaged over the term. They were fairly closely grouped. They average about $42 or $41 a megawatt hour, and most of them were increasing over time. One of them was flat, and that was, I believe PSEG offered a flat price. Next slide, please. The final contracts were negotiated with the two suppliers by August 24th. The third supplier, Shell, was not able to get their credit approval for this contract, and so they couldn't agree to the final contract terms. The remaining two contracts, very similar. They both provide excellent protection for Wolfeboro, as does the present contract. So we asked for final prices and received those on August 26th from the two suppliers, and they were within 1 cent a megawatt hour of each other. That's like about less than 1/10 of a percent in difference in the price. We selected Constellation as the lowest price. They were both fairly comparable in terms of their credit worthiness and also some of the intangibles, how good they are to work with. Constellation was Wolfeboro's supplier prior to the present contract, and so we have a lot of experience with them, with Wolfeboro, and are very comfortable with having them as the town supplier. And that price averages $42.93 a megawatt hour over the 5 years from 22 to 26. Is that the 22, 23, 25? Yeah.
Yep.
So that contract was signed, and next slide. And you can see the two prices. They have different profiles, but they averaged out to being almost exactly the same. So the Constellation price does start out lower, which means that you've got sort of increased savings in the first couple of years as well, as opposed to the next era price. And next slide, which I think might be the last one. So the impact on this is that in January 2022, the cost of power that Wolfeboro is paying will decrease by about 2/3 of a cent a kilowatt hour, or about $500,000 a year. With total savings over the 5-year life of the contract is about $1 million compared to the present contract. So this is a good deal. I'm not sure whether this is the third or the fourth time in a row we've had lower prices than the previous contract, but it certainly is a good trend. And I'll add to this the fact that I updated it today. Since we closed this deal, the price of energy in the forward market has gone up by between 5 and 10%, depending on the year that you look at it. So the timing looks to have been very good on this. We did hit the market fairly close to the bottom, so pretty pleased with the result here. Any questions?
Yeah, I just want to thank you for all the work there. It was a nice presentation too, and it's always nice to be able to bring this to the public to show them that Wolfeboro does get great rates for the electric power, and we're I think we're fairly aggressive at trying to get the best rates available out there for everybody. So I think this is very, very well put together and very informative here. So board members, do we have any questions? I just have one for Barry here, maybe on this. Barry, with this, with the rates that are coming in and stuff like that, maybe even combined with, I don't know if we're seeing lower usage or not, but is this going to affect how you're putting money away for capital projects and stuff? Is that going to slow it down a little bit so you have to space them out further, or won't have any effect on your approach?
It's not going to have a major effect, Brad, because we haven't really seen our power dip down all that much, even from what we thought with, some of the COVID issues going on. We really haven't seen that decline. So we're going to carry on as though under our original plan and our capital plan and whatnot. What this will do is when we get into the end of next year, we'll certainly go through and have Mayhew do an evaluation of our rates based on this new rate. so that we can adjust those accordingly and pass those savings on to our customers that we see, because this is simply a pass-through as I look at it. So that will be the only change. We'll be able to pass the savings on to our customer base.
All right. Board members have any questions?
Great job, guys. It's fantastic.
Thank you once again for the opportunity to work for the town. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayhew. Yeah, you hit it just right on this one. It was good. That's
Always, I'd rather be lucky than good. Yep.
yeah. Either way, we'll take it. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Okay, next on our agenda is we have a memo of understanding with Huggins Hospital for snow and ice control. Mr. Pena, were you gonna speak to us on this, or?
So you may recall in early September, Dave Ford, Matt Sullivan came to you with a concept regarding working with Huggins Hospital regarding salt. We've worked this through the details. You have a memo in front of you. This seems like this could be a win-win for both entities, and Dave's here to speak further to it. Should you have any further questions, Dave?
Yeah, thank you, Jim. I think this, we've had a couple of meetings on this. You may recall Huggins Hospital has a lot that is surrounded by drainage and wetlands that lead down to Crescent Lake into the watershed there. And they, because of a business deal, needed to, they've separated from their Sugar Hill, and they need to have a stockpile of salt. So they're going to build a salt shed on this piece of land right off of Crescent Lake Ave. And we talked about, geez, how much are you using? And maybe we could work something out where we could use that land for a potential stormwater best management type practice project as we do the upgrades on South Main Street. So we've been in contact with New Hampshire DOT. A lot of drainage from South Main Street comes down that road. The drainage is substandard now, and we really don't have a good treatment system. So it seemed like a win-win situation. And we were able to work with Huggins Hospital, and Don Pusher was very instrumental in this. And Matt Sullivan and I worked with him, met with him a couple of times. So I think you had a lot of questions, the selectmen did, and I think, addressed all the questions. We had it reviewed by town council. So I think we're in pretty good shape and ready to roll.
Yeah, sounds good, Dave. And I'll also just add in too, I know when Huggins Hospital came into the planning board with their initial presentation of building that salt shed on their property, a lot of neighbors were very nervous about that being, as close as it is to the wetlands and to Crescent Lake. So I think this is a great idea to work out with them and partner with them and stuff for this. So, that's, nice work getting this all done. One question I do have, Dave, is when I read through this, I didn't see anywhere, at least I didn't see it when I looked through it quickly here. Will the operators from Huggins Hospital be allowed to run the equipment to load themselves, or if they come up there, will they have to wait till one of our crew members show up on site to load the salt into their truck and stuff?
During normal storm preparation, we're going to have Don's crew meet with our crew, and the foreman will have phone numbers. There's only 2 trucks that the hospital has, and they don't use the quantity we use. So they'll be calling, scheduling. So hopefully we will be loading them most of the time. Once we feel comfortable with them, is if there's an emergency and we're out going on a long storm, they got to come back to refill. I'm sure we will train them, and in certain circumstances, they will be allowed to use town equipment. But that would probably be the unusual circumstance. Most of the time, we'll be there to load them.
Okay.
I have a question on this. On number 7, the end of the last sentence, it's faded, so it must be, and it says, failing which interest may shall be due. May shall, there's something really wrong with that sentence. So that definitely needs to be straightened out. The number 4, I would like to have seen it, or maybe you can get me a tax map so I know where we're talking about possibly putting this. Somebody asked me, who live on Crescent Lake, where in the heck are we talking about? I would have no idea. So I think it'd be nice to have a map behind that. And then again, under the termination expiration, you are, let's see, it's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sentence down. I think it should say other party, not other party. So I think somebody should just do a real good proofing of this document. You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah, so did this document come from Attorney Puffer?
No,
No.
Oh,
came from staff.
Oh, yeah. There's wording. I would really like this to go back to him. There's some funny wording in this to have it legally written.
oh.
Yeah, Paul.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Dave. So the estimate is 90 tons. That's item 2. And the town of Wolfeboro is going to expand its budget to buy those 90 tons at the beginning of the year. Is that right?
Correct.
And then they will pay us on how much they use, or will they pay us on all of the 90 tons?
We're going to work out a system. They'll be paying on a tonnage basis. They normally use 90 ton a year, which is a small quantity. We use well over 1,000. Yep, that was the plan.
So they will pay us. So if we buy 90 tons, they're going to buy 90 tons.
Well, we buy thousands of tons, so we're going to buy an extra 90.
I'm just asking about Huggins Hospital. Is Huggins Hospital going to buy 90 tons of salt from us a year?
That's the plan. They're not guaranteed. They don't have to buy it. So say it's a warm wheat year and they only use 40 ton. We won't be using salt either. So we won't be we don't buy the salt all at once. It's always coming and going. So if it's a dry year, we won't use as much. If it's a heavy year, they may use more. We're basing it off what we thought was a fair price. And, basically trying to be a partner with them to help community with the not having a salt shed right there in the neighborhood. And again, the stormwater treatment system can be like a little park. It's going to be much nicer. And Linda, you asked a good question. I can explain where this location is, because if anyone's listening in, they might be interested. As you're coming from Pine Street onto Crescent Lake Avenue and you go by that 90-degree turn, right to your left, you'll see very tall pines, a very nice wooded area. It's about an acre of land. And then if you go a little further, you'll see a drainage channel, and then you start seeing houses. So it's that piece of land that's undisturbed at this point with beautiful tall trees. So part of this was actually preserving that, and it should be much nicer for the neighborhood. And again, also, we're planning on extending the sidewalk through this area also. So again, we're hoping to make it look nice and keep it nice, not have a salt shed right there in a residential area.
Yeah, Paul.
I just would like to finish with a couple more questions, please. And the 15% indirects, how'd you arrive at that number, Dave, just roughly?
Well, I looked at the total cost for the 90 tons, looked at how many man hours we might have to use in the coordination, because we're going to have a coordination meeting before and during, and then just kind of roughed it out, saying, okay, what was fair? It was 5%? That wasn't enough. 10%, 20% was too much. So 15% fell within that the area I felt was reasonable and fair. So we're not making any money. We're just covering our costs. I think Don was happy with that because we get a good price. We get the state bid price at the quantities we buy.
And Huggins Hospital has no other salt provider but for us?
Well, they used to have one. They had a community, where they worked with the Sugar Hill community, so they had a facility up there. When they sold that to the Taylor Home company, they lost their salt shed. So they were planning on building one this year. And I came up with this idea, and we were hopeful that we could try it out at least for 1 year and put off the construction of their salt shed.
Thank you, Dave.
But there is also in here, we're going to put possibility, a potential stormwater treatment system there also on number 4.
Again, if we sign the MOU and we go with the 1 year and it works, then it'll be one or the other, Linda. It can't be really both. Once we, if this doesn't work out or we don't want to enter into it, then the hospital will have to do something different. And then they will no longer, the deal here is we're giving something to them, but they're giving us this potential easement to put in the drainage work. Right now, the drainage goes through the property, but there's no treatment.
Any other questions?
Yeah, let me
Yeah,
go back.
Linda?
This was not written by attorney, but Attorney Puffer reviewed it.
Correct.
Well, I would like to see the errors fixed.
Linda, not to be a pain, I missed the last one. You had said, I got the ones on 7 is obviously a typo there. And we're gonna get a map from number 4. What was the other one you wanted?
Expiration and termination, and next to the last sentence, it says other part, and it should be other party. Notification to the other part? No, it has to be the other party.
Sure. All right, we'll go through it. Again, I apologize. Matt had taken this one over, and then with his exit, he was scrambling to get this done. I should have done a better job of reviewing, so I apologize for that. But again, the question is, are we okay with the intent? I know there's some little details here, but we okay? Because the hospital has to know if we're going to go forward with this. If not, they're going to have to make a different plan.
Would somebody like to make a motion on this to, for me, I'll just put out there, I'm definitely in favor of this. I think it's a win-win for us, for the hospital, to partner up like this. So I think it's a great thing to try on for this year. And if we see it doesn't work, we'll address it next year. But for a 1 year deal, I think this is going to be the way to go. So.
Before you do that, Dick, Brad, can I ask one more question?
Certainly.
So if an organization as large as or larger than the hospital asked us to buy salt for them, would we do that too?
I think, Paul, in the same sense that we form in a partnership with Huggins Hospital, I would be more than happy to enter into a partnership with other community institutions if we could win, if for instance, if we could do a stormwater project to mitigate a source of pollution to the lake, I think we would want to work with them. But I don't think we want to get in. We're not in the business of just selling salt to contractors. So that should be clear. We have no intention. This is strictly, and I think we put the words in there again with the purpose in the statement that again, there's a quid pro quo here. We're getting something for something in return. We don't want to compete with other people. It's just a situation where we don't have a lot of land in our downtown area, and some of it's very critical because it's so close to our water resources. So I think if it's related to that, then I think yes, but I don't think we would be looking to do anything outside of that area.
Okay, thank you.
I could sign this and vote for it if I knew in 1 year you would come back to the Board of Selectmen and we could evaluate the pluses and minuses of what took place.
And if we had the quid pro quo, quitting and proing and quoing during that year.
We're still working. You know, that project is 2024. So here we are, 2020. It's a good time to be talking because it will take some time. I've had discussions with New Hampshire DOT on this, and as soon as we get going a little further, we will then start doing some engineering. We won't make any permanent decisions until we've had at least 1 year, like it says here, and then we will report back to you absolutely sooner than later, because we'll see how it goes through this winter months. And if it works out, then we can go forward. If not, then maybe we have to change it, or maybe it's a bad idea.
I just, I observe, and Dave, thanks for doing this. I mean, your heart's in the right place here. But trying to tie something that's several years into the future with current contracts, that kind of mechanics, I don't know, it doesn't square. I'm not saying it's fishy or screwy, it doesn't square with me. That's just me.
I look at it as a very simple, we're going to provide them salt so they don't build their shed. The rest of paragraph 4 saying there's a potential, that really isn't where we are yet. We don't have an easement. That's just, they may do it, they may not do it. So I kind of put that off for a side and say, okay, can we provide them the salt so they don't build a building in this area that really shouldn't have a salt shed? Am I correct? That's what you're saying, Dave. That's the main impetus.
Well,
because the other is potential.
What it says, Huggins agrees to provide an easement to the town and on New Hampshire DOT. So they're agreeing to giving us an easement. So isn't it pretty clear they're going to give us an easement? It's not like a maybe. It's just saying the details.
Potential. You say potential stormwater treatment system. It's a potential. You don't know for sure it's going there. As soon as the word's potential's there, that's not definite.
So I think, Dave, what Linda is saying, and I think where I'm coming at it as well, is if the word potential were removed, then what it says is, in consideration for we having this partnership with you, you're giving us an easement, we're doing a stormwater mitigation. Not a potential, we're going to do it.
Okay.
Is that where you are?
The word
Linda?
potential,
yeah. If we could,
that word potential.
Now, for all of us, that obligates us to get about the business of doing that, right? For them. So I think the word potential, Dave, is what, in the memorandum of understanding, if that can be removed and they're comfortable with it, I think that might not be a bad idea.
Yeah, that was the word I circled.
Okay, Dave Senical.
Yeah, I think I would agree with Linda said earlier. I think this ought to go to Mark Puffer and let him look through it. I mean, we're going back and forth here, and so words are words, I know, but still, let him look at it. There's a couple of things that need to be corrected, and let him take care of it. I don't have any problem with it.
As long as the intention is right. I mean, wordsmithing is one thing, the intention has got to be clear. And I think the intention is, the word potential, at least for me, is not, there's no intent in potential. It's best effort, we'll try hard, we'll do good. If we remove that word and then Mark Puffer can make the rest of this look nice and professionally legal, then I'm in agreement with you, Dave.
Yeah, and I think it'll put it in some more legal terms. It's my feeling. But if you take that potential, then it's a clearer,
So let me ask Mr. Pino if we send this back to Mark to be, to go through it with some of the wording here and stuff and address the potential portion. Is that something that could be done fairly quickly, you think? Because we obviously, talk with Dave here, we know time is of the essence because we're in the last half of October now and we could be getting weather anytime, and obviously the hospital and town need to know moving forward what direction we're going in. So
I'll make a telephone call to Attorney Puffer first thing in the morning.
Can we do it contingent upon those changes being made? Is the board members comfortable?
That's what I was just going to ask next, if we could do that. That way, get straightened out, it could get signed, and then we're in business here. So
yep.
If we're good with that, I'd entertain a motion to that effect.
I'm fine with us doing a contingent on those things being kind of cleaned up.
I'll second your motion.
I'll third it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the MOU with some changes that we spoke about, under item number 4, the word potential, cleaning up some of the language and adding, some words that need to be cleared up. That's all on the other items there. So any other discussion on that? Yeah, I'll have a roll call vote. Linda? Linda, if you have a roll call vote, how do you vote? Linda, can you hear us?
Linda, well, Linda. Uh-oh. I think her DSL, I think her telephone line went off. I think Linda's gonna say yes.
Yeah. Dave?
Yeah, my thing is kind of free. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Dave Senical?
Sorry.
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Dave Bowers?
Yes.
And Brad Carroll is yes also.
Thanks, Dave.
Okay.
Great, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dave.
Appreciate it.
Okay, next on our agenda is discussion regarding warrant article 33 for the 2018 warrant, which is talking about distribution of campaign materials during election day. Well, I guess how are we going to address this here?
I think I was the one who brought this up.
You did.
And
Okay.
I wanted to read it again tonight and also to tell residents where they can find it on the town website, because the town code is in the code section is wrong. And that's why we're trying to get this out. If you are interested in finding it, let me read it first and then I'll tell you how to get to it. This is our town ordinance 47-1. The distribution of campaign materials and electioneering is prohibited in the town hall rear parking lot and on the sidewalks adjacent to said parking lot during any election held at the town hall. Distributing campaign materials shall mean distributing, wearing, or posting any campaign material in the form for a poster, a card, a handbill, a placard, a picture, a pin sticker, a circular, or an article of clothing which is intended to influence the action of the voter within the town hall. Electioneering shall mean to act in a way specifically designed to influence the vote of any voter on any question or office. And so if you want to take a look at this, you're going to go to the town's homepage. Then you're going to go to department. Then you go to town clerk. Then you go to voting and elections, and it'll say down on the bottom of the page, October 7th, 2020, and it will give the Article 33, which we voted to approve, 1,000 yes, 159 no. And so that's where you could find it. Don't go to the town code. And again, elections will take place on November 3rd from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Amen.
Thank you, Linda. Any comments or other discussion, board members? And I think, Randy's obviously aware of all this too. I'm sure of it. And, he tends to keep us kind of an eye when he can on the looking out and making sure people aren't in the back out there, not to say call it bothering, but, they're where they should be anyway out there, so.
And I think we're apt to get somebody who might have a hat on that has somebody's name on it, or we may get some kind of a mask. People just not particularly thinking, but we're gonna need to ask them to take those things off.
Yep.
Thank you, Linda.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Okay, moving on, we have other business. Do we have any other business to bring up this evening? Paul?
Hey, just an announcement I sent to the board through Jim today. There will be a public hearing on November 4th. Charter Communications will be joining us virtually to discuss the franchise agreement that is currently awaiting signature. Following that public hearing, the area that they will be potentially granted a franchise is for the Browns Ridge Road Village Corner area. Amy is working on the posting logistics. Attorney Puffer has told us he wanted to see us notice that 2 weeks in advance, which we're doing. We're staying close to the, almost identical to the RSA regulating cable. The contract is virtually a mirror image of the one we currently have, which is by statute, we have to do that, can't advantage one over the other. The only difference in the contract is the Charter Communications will be granted a franchise area of the Browns Ridge Road Village Corner area and not Greater Wolfeboro. If they would like to approach us for a larger conversation, they can approach the board and we will have that discussion. But the initial agreement is only for that area. And that contract is non-exclusive, as all contracts with cable providers in the state are non-exclusive. So anybody else who wants to come and offer service in that area, welcome to come to the town and offer service if they can pass muster. So November 4th, public hearing, 6:30 here at the Board of Selectmen, and Attorney Puffer will be present for that.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. Thank you for all the work you've been doing on this too. It's, I'm sure the people in those areas appreciate it the most, so thank you.
Thank you, Brad.
Any other business?
Mr. Chairman, if I could?
Sure, certainly.
Yeah, it's not on your agenda this evening. We've been communicating with Todd Haywood. He's going to be in front of the board on November 4th with the extension of his current contract. He's here this evening. If there's any questions that the board members have for him in advance of this, he's here to speak to that. But you will be seeing a contract extension in front of you for the November 4th meeting.
All right, thank you.
Is it a 1-year extension or what? 1 year?
Yep, that's correct. It's essentially the very same contract extension that was signed last year. And again, it'll be in front of you for the 4th meeting, but just wanted to brief you on that in advance.
Okay, so it'll be pretty similar to what we have in place now, just continuation. Anything you want to add, Todd?
Yep, I'm unmuted now. It's exactly what you've signed the last couple of years. It's just extending the contract that ended 2016. And so we've been extending it with this 1-page extension for the last 17, 18, 19, and I guess 20. So it was, 17. So pretty much the last 4 years. I think the first 2, we did a 2-year, and then the last couple of years, it's been 1 year, but it's referencing that 2016 contract. It's the same. It's exactly, we're just extending the same verbiage as we've been working with for pretty much the last 8 years. The difference is the fees gone up by the COLA, which is a 1.6% increase this year for next year. And I think last year it was 1.6% or 1.7% too. It's the Social Security cost of living adjustment that we go by, or have been going by.
Sounds good, Todd. Look forward to seeing that at the next meeting.
All right, thank you.
Anything else under other business? Seeing none, we'll move on to committee reports. Linda, I want to start with you if you want.
Sure. I have had a special events committee meeting. We have all our entertainment. We're now trying to work out a schedule. I went to the Chamber of Commerce Executive Board meeting. The Milfoil Joint Board has put out a bid notice. We're looking for bids to sell the dash unit. Over the last 2 years, we could not find a contractor who would use our boat. They wanted to use their own. So the joint board is going to sell it if we get a good price. I went to a meeting with Paul on the pop whaling protocols about a week ago. I went to an energy committee meeting, and I had a Wolfeboro watershed meeting, which we reviewed some of the projects that we did over the summer. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Linda. Dave Senical?
Yeah, I've been to a Conservation Commission meetings. I've been to 2 of those. We've obviously, all of us, been working on budgets. The other thing I did on Tuesday was with Mr. O'Brien with the Fire and Police Department looking into new facilities for those 2 departments. That's it.
Thank you, Dave. Paul?
Thanks, Brad. As Dave mentioned, we kicked off the public safety building complex team. Dave and I are co-managing that group of characters, which was that was good. It was a good meeting. We started off. Linda and myself are trying to wrestle the dock committee to clarity. We kicked that meeting off just a day or so ago. Again, the ambition of both of these is to just get the bill of materials for these projects lined up so that we can present them for public comment. As Linda mentioned, we were over at the hockey arena. More to come, I think, tomorrow from the state on hockey protocols. As you may know, all arenas in the state, hockey arenas, were closed for 2 weeks because of COVID exposures. And like the rest of our colleagues, we've been enjoying the time together with Jim looking over budgets.
Thank you, Paul. Dave Bowers?
Yeah, no.
Okay. Thank you, Dave. And, I've also had a quiet couple weeks. I couldn't make the planning board last night. And so other than the budget meetings we've been having, that's all I've had. So we'll move on to the town manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Budgets. Very excited that on the 26th, our new finance director will be on board. Looking forward to that without question. The 30th, the new planner will be on board. They will be in front of you at the 4th for introductions. And just continuing to work on budgets.
Thank you. Questions from the press? Alyssa, if you're out there, do you have any questions for us this evening?
No, I'm good. Thank you, Brad.
All right, thank you, Alyssa. Public input, our next second session, 3 minutes per person. Anybody out there want to speak with us? Looks pretty quiet out there, so I guess I would entertain a motion to go into non-public.
Move to go into non-public. Second. Second.
Okay, 2 motions in 2 seconds to move into non-public.
I can't wait.
We're ready.
Linda?
Ready.
Linda's a yes. Dave Senical?
Yes.
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Dave Bowers,
Yeah.
and Brad votes yes also. Assume we'll stay right on this channel here, Mr. Pinio? Okay.